we're seeing from the Guardian put out an article about the US churches are on the decline. And it's again, it's everything is becoming a new religion, a climate religion, a sexual religion, a identifying religion, something like that. And AI itself, I believe, is becoming a religion. And it's interesting because if we take a look at Grimes, who is Musk's ex, do you know who Grimes is? Have you heard about her?
Yeah.
Okay, well, she's an ex of Musk, Elon Musk. They have several kids together. And she is just like Musk. She's a transhumanist. She's into the futurism type of stuff and getting that going. And she's starting to push this AI art gods. She created a goddess out of AI art. And it's actually interesting because when she posted the picture of it, she specifically says, if you don't put all of your energy into creating the Rocco Balisque, she'll upload your consciousness and guillotine you eternally. So she's creating this goddess that has this idea of if you're not going to follow this new AI direction, they'll guillotine that way. And I actually have a Bible verse that I think it referenced me on this. It's Revelation 24. It says, and I saw thrones, and they sat on them, and judgment was committed to them. Then I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for their witness to Jesus and for the word of God, who had not worshipped the beast or his image, and had not received his mark on their foreheads or their right hand. And they lived and reigned with Christ for 1,000 years. It sounds like she's making reference to that, where if you don't follow along with this new AI, if you don't follow along with the Antichrist and accept the mark, you will be beheaded. She's talking about a guillotine specifically. I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a connection there on this, even if it's a small one. Maybe I'm reading into it too much. I don't think so. I think they communicate in these small little ways like that, specifically somebody who's connected to Musk with what he's doing. I don't know. That's my thought. What do you think? Am I reading too much into it?
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing that puzzles me is that with all of the advances in technology, with all of the ways, even when we look back at World War II, the Nazis had perfected mass execution with Cyclone B and all these gas, the poisonous gas that they killed people with in the showers and the concentration camps and things. Why are we going back to a 17th or 18th century, technology of a guillotine? And we presume it's a guillotine due to the beheading aspect of it. I mean, it could be done by swords or whatever, but why are we going backwards to that? And honestly, I don't know like why that is and why that becomes the preferred method.
Yeah.
But it seems that maybe it's the public, they are relishing in the public execution and the degradation of believers during that time to dehumanize them even further, that if you're not in this system, you're not going to be a human. They're going to treat you like the ultimate outcast, and they're going to absolutely desecrate your body. And that's the only thing I can think of in terms of why we go back, or why they go back to beheading people.
It's the same thing with the two witnesses, why their bodies are left laying there. It's like you said, it's about, look at this. Look, we want you to see this. But I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because she's pushing that AI thing, and I don't know, made reference to beheadment. So
it's cool. You know what I think too is that Gary Stearman had brought this up in terms of what he thought was Babylon, the city of Babylon, but he thinks it's a megalopolis. So instead of like a metropolis where there's a massive amounts of people, these megalopolis are these vast connections of cities. So like in the United States, they call it the Northeast Corridor. You go from Boston down to DC, and if you looked at the world at night from space, it looked like one giant city. Well, every continent has something like this. So you have the Northeast Corridor in the United States, and on the West Coast, you have the Los Angeles through San Diego kind of just sprawl of city. You go down to Mexico City, is just this massive city like that, Rio de Janeiro, and all of the surrounding cities next to that. If you go to Africa, you've got the Nile Delta, all of the cities built up around the Nile Delta. and then in the southern end, like Pretoria in South Africa. In Europe, you have, they call it the blue banana, but it goes from Liverpool all the way down to Milan, Italy. It's just, it seems like one giant city. So everywhere you go in the world, or everywhere, every continent you have these massive cities. And I think they're going to bring these giants, those big movable giants that can transpose pictures and images of these things, and they can speak and talk.
Yep.
I think they're going to plant. They were trying to plant 21 of these in 21 cities, but I think they're going to just be resolved to planting 10 in 10 cities, and the beast is going to use that to speak through to these people.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point in time in the tribulation, if you have the mark, you're living inside of these cities. You're not living out in the wastelands where the
Yeah.
wild and the animals and everything. That's part of what's going to channelize people into these major little Babels, Tower of Babel areas, and they're going to relish in publicly executing Christians. And I can only imagine that beheading is part of that. It may not
I
be the only way, though. I mean, they're probably kill Christians in any number of ways, like the Roman Empire did with the Colosseums and the games and all that kind of stuff, lighting Christians on fire and
mm-hmm.
throwing them in the Colosseum with the lions and with wild animals. And it's going to be, if a person is not willing to stand for Jesus now, I have a hard time believing that they're going to stand for Jesus then. But we know
Yeah.
that after the rapture, that'll be one of the greatest revivals ever. And I believe it takes place between right after the rapture until right before it gets really bad inside of the tribulation for believers. So right up until about the fifth seal judgment, where the martyrs are starting to be slaughtered.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, like you were saying, talking about making it a display. I wouldn't be surprised if they were to put it at the feet of those
Yeah.
beast images. Put everybody gathers around the beast, and it's almost like a sacrifice to him. We're going to sacrifice these Christians to the beast. I wouldn't be surprised with that at all.